session on our Lean Six Sigma Green Belt class. I'm Michelle Dowling. I'm the program manager for the Lean Six Sigma program, and I'm really excited to tell you about our course today because we've run this course several times and it's been very successful. So I think you'll really learn a lot about what it has to offer. So I just wanted to go over our agenda for today. We're going to do some introductions, go over the program, talk about some requirements, and then leave plenty of time for Q&A. If you have any technical issues along the way, please go ahead and use the chat. We'll try to help you troubleshoot. If you have questions along the way, go ahead and enter them into the Q&A feature. I'm joined by a few of my colleagues. We'll try to answer some of the questions via the Q&A along the way, or I'll answer them live. But anything that we don't get to, don't worry, because we'll have plenty of time at the end to answer questions. We're also joined by your instructor, so we'll have lots of good expert advice for anyone who has questions. All right, so my name, as I said, is Michelle, and my colleague is Beatrice Aguilar. And while Beatrice and I will join you throughout the course and as you progress, when it comes to enrollment or questions about the program, our student services team is really the best resource. And I've put their phone number and their email up there. But really, the person you want to talk to is Kathy Zhao. And Kathy Zhao is the enrollment coach for Lean Six Sigma. And she knows all about the program. She's been with us for a long time now. And I'm going to put her Calendly link up there because in addition to emailing her, you can also schedule an appointment with her and talk over Zoom and really find out if the program is right for you. Kathy's also going to be following up this info session with an email with your $100 discount. So for those of you who attend live today, you get $100 off your tuition in the program. We're going to make the video recording available on the web for everyone else, but only people who attend live will get the discount. And just a reminder that UC Davis does not allow us to stack discounts. So if you're doing an employee discount or anything else, you'll have to pick the best value. So hello, Kathy.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join our information session for today. So I've been really here to help you to find out more information about the program, and also through study with you about your background, we can find out if it is the right program for you. So just feel free to schedule either phone call or Zoom meeting with me. Here's the calendar link. You can click into the link. I will put into the chat box as well, so easier to click into the link and then schedule with me. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much, Kathy. So I also want to introduce your instructor for fall, Gabe Lowell. He's very experienced Lean Six Sigma, of course, certified black belt, and has lots of experience in this area. And we're really excited to have Gabe on board. Gabe has taught with us for many years in our management and leadership program. And so I think he'll be a real great addition to the Lean Six Sigma team. Hi, Gabe.
Hi. Thanks for the intro, Michelle. I'm not going to bore folks with a lot of details on on the background here, but just to say I'm really excited about the upcoming class. I have a real passion for the topic of process improvement, and I've had a really fortunate opportunity to work on process improvement with a number of different teams doing facilitating Kaizen events, and so happy to share some of those lessons learned with everyone here.
Great. All right, so I always like to start off the information session with a poll because I want to really learn about your experience level so that I don't bore you with things you don't need to know. So Beatrice is going to launch a poll and find out what your experience is with process improvement or Lean Six Sigma. And there's no wrong answer. All of our continuing education programs are meant for everyone. So if you're new to the to the area, to the concepts, that's great. Although I think you'll find as you move along that you probably have more experience in life and work than you realize. We've also had people in our program who were certified business analysts and use this all the time, but were self-taught or learned on the job and really wanted a more formal education, and that's fine too. So I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to fill that out. And again, your responses are totally anonymous, so feel free to just dive in. All right, so it looks like about half of you are completely new to Lean Six Sigma and process improvement, no problem. About half of you have some experience, and that makes sense. Most of us do this on the job and don't even realize it. And then about 10% of you are highly experienced, one person. So that's wonderful too. We really find, because we use live class sessions as part of the course, people who have a lot of experience add a lot of value to the course conversation. And because this process is used in every industry, it's also great when we have people from different backgrounds and industries to speak how they might have used it in their area. All right. Thanks so much, Beatrice. So I want to talk a little bit about what the course is going to offer and what Lean Six Sigma offers. So Lean Six Sigma basically is about process improvement. It's about creating systematic tools and processes in your organization to do continuous process improvement. And there's wonderful results from it. It's going to reduce variation. It's going to standardize things in a positive way. It's going to improve, your productivity and your gains. Now, with you attending this course and becoming a green belt, what you're going to be able to do is be a key player in your organization. You're going to be able to be involved, be at the table talking about what opportunities there are for process improvement, how to implement systems, what tools to use, what techniques to use, and to actually play a part in applying these concepts. We've had some wonderful stories from past students who have either within their current organization or they've moved on to other positions and have been able to implement these tools right off the bat. That's one of the wonderful things about Lean Six Sigma is it's very practical. So sometimes people ask me, well, who should attend? I'm just a line worker. Is this really something that I'm going to be able to use in my job? And the truth is, it's a beneficial concepts and tools for anyone. But this program is probably most targeted at, project managers, analysts, leaders in organizations, and people who want to learn more about process improvement. The reason it tends to be more about middle managers or project managers or analysts is because you do have to have a certain level of influence. Obviously, I can have great ideas about how the procurement operations at my institution can be improved, but if I don't work in procurement and I don't have any leverage, my voice isn't going to be as powerful. So that's one of the things we do look for in people who are interested in attending the class, is that you are going to have access to a project or a process that you can have some voice in improving. So some of the benefits of the program, like I said, this is a very practical concepts that we're dealing with. So you're going to have an opportunity to immediately apply them in your job. The program uses a real life project from your work. So you get to work on your work project while you're in the class and get expert advice and mentoring along the way. Lean Six Sigma is not a new concept. It has been around for a good while. It's got proven techniques, proven tools. It's been used by some of the top industries. And that's something that our instructors will bring to the table to be able to talk with you about case studies and about the history of Lean Six Sigma and why it is a proven technique. And then, of course, upon successful completion of the program, you will get a digital green belt badge. And for those of you who are really excited about Lean Six Sigma, you can move on to other badges and perhaps someday achieve your black belt if you're interested. Or you can take your green belt, go back to your job, and just use it to make your job a better place. So I do want to talk, for those of you who are more familiar with Lean Six Sigma, what's included and what isn't. So we have combined two concepts, Lean and Six Sigma. I do want to mention that this course is very heavy on Lean and not quite as heavy on Six Sigma. We are not going to go deep into statistical analysis. We just have 13 weeks with you. We really want to focus on small incremental improvements. We really want to take a project that you're working on that you could make a significant difference within the 13 weeks. Gabe, is there anything you want to add to this slide?
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the point that it's really heavy on the Lean and light on the Six Sigma. I think that's an important point. We don't want folks to have to worry too much about some of the more advanced statistical tools at this stage. We'll give you some awareness of what's out there, and you can certainly do a deeper dive on those topics in a black belt program. For here, the main focus is on the DMAIC process and giving you a set of tools that you can immediately apply back in your workplace. And we're very focused on giving you practical, simple tools that you can go back and immediately use in your workplace. So we'll have lots of examples we'll talk through, and with the project application, that'll give you an opportunity to to really think through, okay, how am I going to take what I'm learning and use that to benefit my organization? So there's going to be a real focus on that element as well.
Yeah, everything we do here at Continuing Education is meant to be hands-on and practically based. So there's going to be a little bit of theory just to give you concept and context to what we're learning, but we really want you to have takeaways. We really want you to have something you can take back to your job, even during the course, and make a difference. So there are a few requirements because this is for a badge. So we need to have some quality assurance. And so the requirements are basically that you attend all 7 of the live sessions. And as you might have seen, those are going to be on Friday mornings from 9:30 till noon. They run every other week starting September 9th. And then we have a 2-week break before the 7th session. And that's so that you can work a little bit more on your project before you turn in the final result. We do have some homework along the way, and it's all tied to work on your project, but it's important that you complete that homework and get a passing grade. We don't do letter grades per se, but Gabe's going to assess whether you made an effort, whether you understood the concept, and whether you're, of passing comprehension. We're going to ask that you complete all the assignments on time. This is a progressive course that builds on itself. The information builds on itself. And so you can't expect to turn everything in the 13th week. It wouldn't work. So you're going to want to keep up with the course. You're going to want to set aside, maybe 8 to 10 hours a week, depending on how complex your project is or how unfamiliar you are with the concepts, and really treat it like homework. I know when I've done courses of this type, I sit down Saturday morning. That's my time every week. And that way I don't fall behind. And I know that I'm, comprehending things fully so that when I move on, I don't get stuck. And then, of course, a key part of this course is that you will complete a live project during the course. So I ask people even now to start thinking about processes or systems or projects at their work that they might want to do. You don't have to have everything figured out on the first day of class. Gabe will work with you and guide you through it, but I want everyone to be aware that that is a requirement of the class. So as I mentioned, the live Zoom sessions are going to be every other Friday starting September 9th, and they're going to start 9:30 to noon. Basically 9:30 to 11 is going to be Gabe sharing knowledge and information, going to be some interactive activities, answering questions, really diving into that week's topic. And then from 11 to 12 is an opportunity for mentoring, office hours, more questions, guest speakers, things like that. But we do ask students to leave that entire time period free. You're going to have, as I mentioned, homework, self-study on the off weeks. You're going to want to keep up on that. And then when people ask me the time commitment, I would say over the 13 weeks, you're going to want to count on spending upwards of 40 hours. It really varies a lot depending on how you study, what your knowledge of the area is, what your situation is at work, how much you're able to work at work, how much it's integrated with your regular work. But basically treat it like an actual college class, and I think it'll serve you well. This is just kind of a brief overview of what the 13 weeks is going to look like. As I mentioned, you are going to have a deliverable at the end of your final project. It doesn't have to be completely buttoned up and done. We understand this is a real life project. You've got politics, you've got other players, you're managing stakeholders, but we want to see that you have utilized all the different elements, techniques, and tools that Gabe will teach you, and at least made the attempt to integrate them into your project and documented that. So this just gives you a sense of how we're going to go through the topics of the DMAIC process. Gabe, is there anything you want to comment on this approach?
I just wanted to underscore the importance of carving out that time to make steady progress on the homework assignments, and in particular, the project application. There's more information that'll be provided in terms of project selection criteria, but of those, one of the most important ones is making sure you try to find something that you can make substantial progress on over that 2.5-3 month period, and being careful to avoid biting off something that might be too big for that period of time, and yet something that'll have a meaningful impact for your area. And so we are encouraging you to have a conversation with your manager about what is something that would help move the needle in terms of process improvement for your organization. That could be within your local department, or it could be something potentially beyond, as long as you have strong sponsorship from your management upline. So happy to talk more about that when the time comes, but I do just want to underscore the importance of that steady progress so things don't stack up.
That's a good point, Gabe. And Gabe will help work with you folks to fine tune the scope of your project. And I wanted to go to the next slide because we have some things that you want to think through as you identify your project. And this really has helped a lot of students kind of hone in and make sure that they're on the right track. Some of you have already asked, like, what are some examples of projects that students have done? And I have to say, we've probably run a couple hundred people through the program now. So I've gotten to see a lot of projects and they vary greatly. I had one woman, I always like to give her project as an example because I think it's important to show people that it can be a very simple project. She worked in a tutoring office at a university. And so all she wanted to do was improve the intake of people who needed tutoring help. It was kind of a mess. It was taking a lot of time. Customers were dissatisfied. So her whole project was about creating a system and a form, just a form to help with intake. And so your project doesn't have to be complex or huge. You know, she had a very small area of influence, so she wanted to do a project that she could control and really achieve something in those 13 weeks. We've had other people who have worked for large agricultural companies, and they've had goals to improve the industrial production at their companies, and they were higher level managers. And so they had large teams of people on the project, and they were managing lots of stakeholders, and they had very influential sponsors. And so they'll have very complex projects. Sometimes they're projects that they already had kind of initiated, but they were able to apply the Lean Six Sigma process to it. So, you know, we've had a lot. I don't want anyone to be intimidated if your project is smaller or less complex. You know, we do like everyone to speak about their project in the final class. I have had students in the past who said, oh my goodness, you know, I saw that doctor, you know, present his project on telehealth and I was so intimidated. You know, my project's just on how to make the boiler at the facility shop work better. No project is any better or worse than another because it represents your piece of the world. And if it makes that piece better, that's all that matters. One thing I do want to highlight in this list is you are going to want to make sure it's something you can measure. Sometimes we have to work with students because they have a problem, but maybe it's interpersonal or it's a little trickier to measure. Not all projects lend themselves to straight data, but Gabe will help you because there's always a way to have metrics. There's always a way to identify data. It's sometimes just about how you look at the problem and sort out a solution. But I do want to make that clear. Gabe, anything to add on this list as people think through their project choice?
I think you covered the important points there, Michelle. A couple of the footnotes I would add. Because the program focuses primarily on the lean side, we're really focused on the customer experience. And so looking at the process through the customer's lens, if you will, and we're going to be applying a tool called downtime that looks at many different types of waste. And some of these are kind of referenced here on that slide. But as you think about opportunities in your area, you know, where do we have errors? You know, where do we have additional wait time that we could streamline? Where do we have maybe too many steps? So I think those are some of the elements that are in that first bullet are really helpful. And especially when you know, especially if you're getting any feedback already from customers that are telling you, hey, we have an opportunity to get better. So we certainly want to always apply that customer lens as we start to prioritize those opportunities.
Great. So I did want to present a few examples of what we call A3s or storyboards. And these are two separate examples of people's projects that have done in the past. And it's just to kind of give you a sense. It looks very complex, but the truth is it's really just taking a challenge and boiling it down to separate steps, separate areas of identification to really organize and think through how to tackle the project. Gabe, why don't you talk a little bit about what the A3 does in the Lean Six Sigma process?
Sure. So A3 is both a tool, but it's also almost a philosophy. So in the lean world, you have the tool in front of you, which is it's meant to be a one-pager, typically 11 by 17. And this is a snapshot of all of the important elements of what you're attempting to do, both the problem, the current state, future state, how you plan to tackle it, how you plan to measure improvement. So it has all of the essential ingredients in one view. And when I say it's also a philosophy, there's this notion of kind of applying A3 thinking to the organization, which means wherever possible, we try to really simplify things. And in some organizations, the norm is if you have a new project you're going to kick off, well, you need to put together a 10-page business case, and you need to spend months planning it out. As you can see here, the intent is to really keep it simple and try to just put together a very concise snapshot. And so we'll talk about both of those a little bit more in the class, of course, but just wanted to kind of set the stage in terms of the objective, a very concise summary of the current issue, the gaps, how you plan to tackle closing those gaps, and then also we'll talk about other applications of this A3 thinking approach.
Great. So I just wanted to pause for a minute. I know the project aspect can be a little daunting. I just wanted to find out how many of you kind of think you might have a project in mind already, and how many of you are just like, I really have no idea. I think you'll find, for those of you who think you have no idea, as you talk to your colleagues, to your customers, to your supervisors, you're going to find actually you're going to have too many opportunities to pick from. And then that's where, when class starts, will really help you hone in on the best choice. That's great. So half of you have at least one project in mind. That's great. About 20% of you have several ideas. And then about 30% of you don't have one in mind right now, but think you can research some options. And I think that's very typical. I'll be honest, I've done this many times. We've run this course several times, and there is a moment when class starts where students are a little panicked, some of them, and then by the first few weeks, everyone has a project, and by the end, everyone's able to bring the project through the process. We've never had anyone who wasn't. Sometimes people do run into challenges, and Gabe will talk more about that. Things like politics or influence, financial support, budget changes, redirection. This happens, but that's what he's going to talk to you about, how you tackle those elements. All right, thanks everybody. So I do want to just highlight that the course starts September 9th. We have closed enrollment August 12th. That's really just because in the past it's been a very popular course. We want to make sure that everyone who is enrolled is notified and then has time before the first class to really think through what kind of project they want to do and learn everything they need and make time for the live sessions. And that's on our website. You can also contact Kathy if you have any questions about enrollment. Oh, I did want to point out that the program does cost $2,495. For those of you who are with UC Davis, there is a discount and we can help you with that. And just again, you can't stack any of the discounts. All right, so that's kind of the end of my spiel before I move to Q&A and turn it over to Gabe. But does anyone feel that they're ready right now? Okay, I'm looking as people's results come in. Great, great. So a good number of you feel like you're ready to enroll. Some people want to do a little bit more research, make sure that they're free on Fridays, make sure that they can devote the time to it. That is very important. We will be offering this course again. I'd rather have you pick a quarter that works for you. Some people need to think about the funding. I totally understand that. And some people are going to reach out. All right, great, great. Okay. Just gonna, oh, great. So as I said, that's the end of my formal presentation. I want to turn it over to comments, and I want to turn it over to Gabe, see if there's anything that he wants to add. I did just want to let people know we also do a group discount of 10% if your organization sends 3 or more people, and there's also a Cal Ag alumni discount.
Great, thanks, Kathy, for those elements. I'm just excited about the upcoming cohort. I hope this is helpful in terms of giving you a little snapshot or preview of what to expect. And certainly as questions come in to Kathy, if you have early questions about the content, what you'll get out of the program, even early ideas around projects that you want to just get some early feedback on, please go and funnel those to Kathy, and then I can make sure we close the loop with you to get any questions answered that might be on your mind. My sincere hope is that by the time you're done with this program, you're going to feel a lot more equipped to really champion continuous improvement in your organization and be ready to apply a really useful set of very practical, simple tools to move the needle in your organization. So excited about the upcoming cohort.
Great. Kathy, is there anything you want to add from questions you've received in the past with students who are looking into this program?
Yeah, before that, when I working with the student intentionally into this program is one is that the major thing is that at the beginning, people don't understand what is the project and whether it is to be a very large scale of the project I need to choose. Actually not. So the project can be related to your life issue, can be related to your work. So the thing is that you will obtain the practical skills throughout this program. So don't need to worry about the project, what kind of project you are going to select. We will help you to identify the project. So that the main thing that we want you to study from the beginning, how to utilize all the tools into the project. So that is a major thing. That is most concern about many people. They are like kind of hesitating to take this program at the beginning. But we will help you with that. The major thing is that to help you to learn how to use the tool, not exactly about what kind of project you are really working on. So that is a major concern from the student before.
That's a really good point, Kathy. I think another thing that's important to emphasize is this is a learning experience. So we're not going to rate you on how successful your project is. We've had students who have come through and worked really hard and their project never got off the ground. And it happens. It's not ideal. But the point is, did they apply the concepts of Lean Six Sigma? Did they do their part? Because this is an education opportunity. So that's what our role is, to help you with that part. There are going to be factors outside of your control. And sometimes you do everything right and the project still isn't the success you wanted. And that's not what you're going to be graded on.
Yeah. And the other concern is that people will make a comparison with between the project management and the Lean Six Sigma. So these two programs can be kind of related together. So project management will be more holistic for the entire process of a project. For Lean Six Sigma, it's really help you to identify the problem in between some specific step in the whole certificate, in the whole project. So help you to be more to do the improvement of a certain step of the entire project.
Just to tag on to that a little bit. So, projects are really any effort that has a defined start and end date. And when we think about process improvement, we're talking about a repeatable set of activities or steps. And so certainly these have a little bit different focus. There's certainly a little bit of overlap there, but we're going to focus on any repeatable set of activities or steps in your organization that might have some opportunity for improvement.
That's a very good point. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to move ahead to just a final poll. I just want to find out, we're always working to improve the information we share with everyone. So I wanted to just ask you to take a quick poll just to see if you found this information session helpful and useful. As I mentioned, we are recording it and we will put that up on our website in the next few weeks. So if you got kicked off or you want to review it or you have a colleague who may want to see it, they'll be able to do that. And then Kathy will be sending a follow-up email with the information about the discounts. I'll give everyone a few minutes to answer that. All right. Well, thank you everyone for answering the final poll and for attending this information session. Kathy's here to answer your questions. She will forward anything on to Gabe and I if need be. So you're in good hands and we really hope to see you in September. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.